And then finally, we were talking about today's stuff, excuse me. We didn't get to it yesterday, so we get to it today. And Fleetwood, very sad to say, a longtime company, inland company, is finally, they're basically putting the final nails in the coffin, huh?
Right. It was kind of a bittersweet moment. I've covered it since they filed for bankruptcy last March 2009, and it was almost like a reunion of sorts going to the courthouse yesterday and seeing the lawyers who have been involved the entire time for about 16 months now. And for those 16 months since that bankruptcy filing, they've been trying to reorganize, and they've been going through and selling off assets and whatnot. In the very beginning, I recall the executives saying, okay, we have some options now. We can reorganize and become Fleetwood Enterprises again after getting rid of debt and so forth, or they could sell off assets. And in the very early stages, they weren't sure where they were going to go, but they ended up selling off their RV division, their housing division, their military housing division. All of those things aren't new. That happened quite some time ago, but it was solidified yesterday at the hearing that approved their bankruptcy plan that basically it's liquidated. So whatever assets they have left, they're going to sell, and all of the funds raised from that are going to be going to their creditors. And so yesterday, it was approved by the court and approved by most of the creditors.
It's kind of interesting because when I was growing up, you would have thought that Fleetwood would be around forever. I mean, they were very entrenched in this area and pretty successful at what they did. I mean, for a lot of years, the Bounder was probably one of the most successful products that was out on the market, and that was obviously initiated by Fleetwood, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the Bounder was their prime vehicle.
Right.
It was something that was designed, actually, John Crean, who's the founder of Fleetwood,
right,
ended up going to a Riverside Denny's and sitting down with the executives, brought out a napkin and just started sketching the logo for the Bounder that ended up sticking with the Bounder for those many years afterwards. And they came out with a new one. I think the new model, now owned by the new company based in Decatur, Indiana, it still has that logo and came out with a new Bounder version. So,
well, great. I didn't even know that. But
yeah, so Fleetwood RV, the name still exists. It was bought out by Decatur, Indiana company, a New York equity firm that based it there. So now there's no more Fleetwood operations here in the Inland Empire, and the Fleetwood name has changed to Fleetwood RV. So it's still around, the brand is there, but it's, definitely not the Riverside-based Fleetwood anymore.
And then finally, you talked about some jobs?
Correct, yeah. My colleague Jack Katzenik wrote about temporary hiring, and it looks like that's still on the upswing. So folks are hiring temporary workers. The key is they're not really keeping these folks much longer than their temporary status. So we haven't gotten to the point where folks are hiring full-time employees.
So companies are still treading water, as they say, because we can see that from also the Purchasing Managers Index, that they kind of fill stock, and then it goes, as much as it dropped this last cycle through, it might have been they all had stock, so they stopped buying, and they've also kind of not gone with more employees. They've just gone with temporary employees for the time being.
Well, and speaking of Purchasing Managers Index, the new report, I think that would be looking at June, is going to be coming out next week.
Oh, I can't wait. Of course, I have to get it in the business press. That's why I can't wait. But I'll be looking forward to that.